Hi, and welcome to another edition of A1 Figures review. Today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to have a few different categories and rating, and I'm going to be rating, this will probably be like a three-part video, but I'm going to be rating Michael Jordan, Enterbay. I've got three figures I will be rating, and I've customized some of them. And just kind of show you some things you can get if you are a big NBA fan and a big Michael Jordan fan. So here's the first figure. This is the open mouth version of Jordan with the black pinstripe. That's a custom jersey. Here's the second one. This is my upper deck version. There's the box for it. Now if you look up here, you'll see my All-Star version jersey. I have the white and red All-Star suit, or the warm-up suit. Then I have the red and black away warm-up suit. There's the box, there's the All-Star box. And then what I did is I bought a white jersey for Michael Jordan, a home jersey online, to put it with this figure next to the hoop as he is dunking. Here are some championship trophies, some extra basketballs. I had a friend make me a 1/6 scale Wheaties box. They're kind of cool. And I also have some Michael Jordan pennants that are 1/6 scale. That was also made by him. I have a Michael Jordan card on the stand. Just yesterday, I don't know if it just came out yesterday, but I saw its story yesterday. Newsweek came out with a nice publication of Michael Jordan's career, and it's kind of cool because they have pages in there of all his shoes, his cards, his memorabilia, and it's kind of a neat little thing. I just picked it up yesterday, kind of perused through it, and there were some neat things to read nonetheless, and you ought to pick it up. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to actually go through these Michael Jordan's career highlights and things like that. Let me just kind of give you a little background. When he played basketball, he was 6'6" and about 210 to 215 pound range. He went to North Carolina for college, 81 through 84. He was a first round draft pick, but he was a third overall pick. Head of him was Hakeem Olajuwon, which makes sense. He was one of the best centers of all time, and Sam Bowie by the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, one thing that just to get rid of this misnomer was like, oh man, Portland really blew it. Well, if you know anything about history, there was a very good basketball player drafted the year before at the exact same position, and they kind of had some similar attributes, and that was Clyde the Glide Drexler, who, to me, is watching basketball, was one of my top probably 10 players I ever saw play. I mean, he could dunk with the best of them, just like Michael Jordan. He had a lot of good airtime, and although he wasn't the killer that Jordan was, and he wasn't as good as Jordan, trust me, but he was right up there. And in fact, the 92 season when they met in the finals, that's what everybody wanted. It was Clyde the Glide, and people were talking, who's better? And deep down, everybody knew Jordan was. And sometimes we forget that, in fact, just recently, I'm sorry if I'm diverting a bit, there was there's been an issue with Aaron Rodgers, who I think is probably the best to play the position that I've ever seen. He's not the most accomplished quarterback like a Tom Brady or Joe Montana, but all in all, he is really great, and people are like, oh, you can't compare him to Jordan and stuff like that. Well, you can, because, you can say, well, when Jordan was being compared to Magic and Larry, they had each won 3 or 4 finals at that time, or 5, actually, for Magic, and Jordan had won 1, but everybody kind of knew that he was kind of the greatest player to come up. As Magic said, Larry and I had great ground games, but Jordan has introduced the air game. And Jordan was definitely transcendent. I would say Magic Johnson and Larry Bird saved basketball, and Michael Jordan took basketball and took it to the next level and reached above and beyond. But there were good players that played against Michael Jordan, guys like Dominique Wilkins and Clyde Drexler, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. He played against the Pistons, the bad boys. There were lots of good players when Penny Hardaway came in towards the end of Jordan's career. He gave Jordan some difficult times, and Shaq was playing, and so there were other good players. It's just that Jordan had this thing about him that says, "I'm going to dominate you, and there's nothing you or anyone can do to stop me." Jordan had that killer drive, and that was the comparison. And I see that it actually is quite apt to compare a guy like Aaron Rodgers to MJ, because Jordan didn't win his the finals his first few years. He had to really get over that hump. He wasn't like a Tom Brady or Joe Montana who won it quick and kept on winning. And it's kind of hard to compare a football to a basketball player. But when somebody said like Aaron Rodgers is Jordan-esque, I can see what they're saying. And I mean, Jordan was intelligence, skill, all those things. He was never the greatest at one specific area in basketball, but he was great in every area. And the things, the intangibles, you can't change that. You can't change what is. And so let's kind of give some more things. He was 6-time NBA championship. He won from 91, 92, 93. He had a little sabbatical where he did retirement for a bit after his father was killed. And he played baseball for White Sox organization. And then he went back after doing a little practicing with, I think it was B.J. Armstrong, and they kind of talked him into coming in that second season, and he came back as 45, if you recall, and he played quite well, and that itch came back. Well, his first year back, full season. Now he came back halfway, and they actually lost to Orlando. When that's kind of how Penny Hardaway kind of got an inflated rep, because he gave Jordan a difficult time in that series. But that was it, and next year Jordan took care of them and went to the finals and played Seattle. And then that's when they had Sean Kemp and Peyton and stuff like that. And then that following 2 years, Jordan had beat John Stockton and Karl Malone for the Utah Jazz both years, and that was known as the Shot. And Jordan retired again. He came back and played for the Wizards for 2 seasons. But to go on, that was just an overview of his career. To go on, he was a 5-time most valuable player. And it's kind of like LeBron today. You could almost give it to him every year. There were years that they gave it to other players just to be nice. I remember the year that Karl Malone got it. I thought, well, Jordan actually played better than Karl Malone. But they did spread it around. He probably could have won it just about every year he played. 5-time most valuable player, 14-time NBA All-Star, 3-time NBA All-Star MVP, 10-time All-NBA First Team. He was All-NBA Second Team in 1985. He was NBA Defensive. This was big for him. He really wanted this, too. He was a Defensive Player of the Year. That was huge for him. He was Rookie of the Year, like I had said as well. He had won 2 slam dunk contests. He 3 times won the NBA steals. He had the most steals for a season. He's the all-time. I don't know if Kobe surpassed him, but it says here he was the all-time NBA playoff leading scorer. He's the Chicago Bulls all-time leading scorer. Obviously, his number was retired. He was 3-time AP Athlete of the Year. And he won 2 gold medals. And he made it to NBA's 50th anniversary team. He won the NCAA Finals in '82. He's known as most people to be the best player of all time. His career point per game is 32.29. 2 points per game. His rebounds total to about almost 7 rebounds and about 6 assists per game. That was kind of his career totals. But I do want to go over just his year-by-year statistics, and you can kind of see, really, as you kind of look at the numbers, and I challenge you if you have time, if you look up different numbers, people compare LeBron to Michael Jordan or Kobe. Look at their numbers, and really, the numbers don't lie. Jordan was a much more prolific scorer than both of them. And LeBron really is not in the same class as Jordan because they are different types of players, and they definitely handle the game different. But Michael Jordan's rookie year, it's amazing. He averaged 28 points a season his rookie year. His 85 season, he averaged just 22.7. If you remember, it was a short season. He was injured, but he came into playoffs that year and totally frustrated Larry Bird, where he averaged where he got a game where he had 63 points against the Celtics there. I mean, he was just incredible. But so second full season, really, he averaged 22. Then he averaged 86, 87. He averaged 37 points. 87, 88, 35. He averaged 32, 33, 31, 30, 32, 26, 30, 29. Towards that, look at it, 98. He was 28, almost 29 points a game. His 2 seasons for Washington, he averaged 22.9 after he retired and 20 points a game. Unbelievable. You look at that, and LeBron's had 1 season over 30, probably the closest one that I've seen since Jordan with that kind of scoring numbers, but he did get hurt. Probably be Kevin Durant. Jordan wasn't the greatest shooter, but he was the best scorer, and I think there's a difference there in how you separate the two, because you can shoot all day long, but can you score? And I played basketball nowhere near as good as him. I played high school basketball, and I was never when I just jump around and shoot, I didn't do well. But when I was in a game, there was a pressure that came on, and for some reason, I made shots that I shouldn't make. And when I played against better basketball players, which most times I did, I had to use my intelligence to beat them versus my athletic ability, because I had flat feet and I was slow, and I was slow. But there came a point where the shot had to be made, and I would do that, and that's what Jordan was. Jordan had that, where other greats didn't have that. He had that killer instinct that no matter what happens, I'm gonna show you. And he went through his hurdles. He had to deal with the Pistons for a few years there, where they would beat him up, and they would, they had the idea of the Jordan rules. And you look at all the things that Jordan has been through. Just as a basketball player, I mean, he was amazing. He was so gifted and fun to watch.